doing, everybody? It is Jimmy King with WrestleLaunch here, and it is time for your AEW Thursday afternoon, whatever, review, because it is Thursday afternoon, and I'm just now being able to have an opportunity to sit down and actually do this. Last night was our first Dynamite after the big switch-up that happened last week, so naturally we have a video package that starts the night off, and it is explaining how Darby went from where he went to being the now AEW World Champion, and of course, because of this video package, MJF comes down and is demanding that Darby give him back his title. And instead of actually being met with Darby Allin, he is met by the Jet Kevin Knight, who holds up his TNT title. MJF and the Jet go back and forth. For some reason, now MJF wants a shot at the TNT title. And I want to say that they're starting to build up MJF as this wrestler that does go and try to get the different belts in his company, because why not, right? So he does go after it. We actually get an opportunity. We see MJF and Kevin Knight say, let's have this match right now, because you can actually see MJF is dressed in his gear. He did come down because he wanted a match with Darby, but instead he does see the Jet Kevin Knight. We actually call for a referee to come down. A referee does come down. They hold up the TNT title, and MJF rolls out of the ring and says, no way, we're not happening. It's going to be next week. And that's typical MJF, and honestly, I love it. This version of MJF is going to be completely unhinged, and that's what we need to see. We need to see the unhinged MJF. We need to see what really makes him shine. The reason he calls himself a generational talent, that's what we need to see here. We do go backstage, and then we have Jericho and The Demand, which is weird. I always find segments where they're standing next to each other, they're feuding, but I always find those segments a little bit weird. I get that, you're supposed to be civil and whatever, but for me, I've always just been a little weird by that. Demand and Jericho going back and forth. Jericho has now coined his phrase of the bald, and there is even a moment where Ricochet says something along the lines of Jericho is the man that shows up every week and gets beat up by the Demand, and you find out that Jericho now has a new t-shirt. Literally says that. I think that's funny. Most people probably won't, but I think it's funny. We then have our first match of the evening, and it is Brody King versus Lio Rush. And as we all know, Lio Rush is doing his Blackheart gimmick, which I absolutely love. Now, I'm a fan of Brody King as well, and he is not someone who is easily scared in a wrestling ring. But even Lio Rush has him moments where he kind of, he's not easily swayed. He really is not the type of person where he's going to be scared by those type of tactics, but you can even see that Brody still plays off the uneasiness. They do still go after one another. I was actually really happy to be able to watch this entire thing on YouTube TV, because I did get the picture-in-picture, so I did get to see some stuff. There is a lot that goes back and forth with them. Outside the ring, we do see a Gonzo bomb from Brody King that does get the win for him, and as we always have been seeing, we see Lio Rush smiling. But then Brody asks for a microphone, and he says that he will be paying very close attention to the main event later on tonight, because obviously he is eyeing his shot. Now, we move on from there. We go see Tommaso Ciampa talking to Renee Paquette about his opportunity tonight. And honestly, there's been a few people that I've seen that are upset about Ciampa having the opportunities he's been given in AEW, and I don't really understand why. Why are you guys upset about a wrestler getting their chances? Why are you upset about a wrestler being able to do the things that he wants to do? I don't see the point in that. Like, I get that he's new to the company. I get that. But at the end of the day, who fucking cares? As long as the story makes sense and people are getting their job done. We come back from a commercial break, and it is Adam Copeland talking about FTR's declaration that if FTR has the belts, you will not have an opportunity for Christian and Cope to go for those belts. But of course, they have a little trick up their sleeve, and Cope has decided that he wants to go after those titles at Double or Nothing, and he has put Christian and his career on the line against FTR, and of course, we have to find out if FTR is going to accept that. We move on to another match, and it's Hikaru Shida in a singles match, the one that we saw last week be scheduled, against Mina Shirakawa, who, mind you, believes it is Shida who attacked Toni Storm. They go and back forth here a little bit. There's a few moments where you can actually see that they have the same thought. You can see that their training is very similar. At one point, though, in the match, we see Shida start crawling for her kendo stick, and she does get it, but we do then see Statlander grab the kendo stick out of her hand, which does cause a little bit of a distraction, and it does give Hikaru Shida the opportunity to get the win on Mina Shirakawa, and that, of course, starts an issue between Mina and Statlander. I like where they're going with this. They're giving Shida a little bit more to go with. Instead of just having her come right out with it, and they're kind of doing the slow build. I like what they're doing here. Hikaru Shida hasn't seen a lot of storyline and action in AEW recently. I mean, there was a while there where she wasn't even on TV for over a year. So I'm actually really happy to see what they're doing with Shida. I like Shida. She is a competitor's competitor. So I like to see what they're doing here from that. We move along though, and we end up seeing a video package for Okada and Takeshita, which is coming up at Double or Nothing. And I'm so sure that's going to be a great match. I'm looking forward to that match. That is going to be so hype. If you guys get the opportunity, go try to find that video. If I can, I'll have it linked over there, but we'll see. Eventually, we do come back from yet another commercial, and there's a recap from Thursday when the Rascals and the Bucks get taken out by the War Dogs. And we do see an announcement for Collision. It's going to be a 10-man tag. It's going to be the Rascals and the Bucks against the Death Riders and the Dogs. But then we go on to another match, and it is Will Ospreay yet again. And this time he's going up against Mark Davis. An answer again from last week when Mark Davis attacked him. We have commentary talking about how Will was barely cleared to be able to have this match tonight. Ospreay flying around the ring as he normally does, but of course the story of the match is going to be Ospreay's neck. You see him hit a Hurricane Rana off the steps at one point, and they go up the ramp, and you see Will try to go, he tries to reverse a power bomb, and then he ends up going back up on the steps, or the stage, and then runs and dives onto Davis, and which was a very emphatic moment in the match, I'll give it that, but later on you can see that those antics do eventually catch up to Will Ospreay because we end up having a doctor stoppage because of what happens. And then we do see him get this sick pile driver on the side, this apron. It was honestly one of the sickest things I've ever seen, just the way he did it because of the way that Will was dangling. Well done by Mark Davis, pile driving Will Ospreay on the apron. They do get into the ring yet again. And by that time that we do have them come back into the ring, we have Davis holding Will Ospreay up on or in the ring, and the Death Riders all show up, which was interesting to me. Then they carry Will Ospreay off, and I understand that there has been some proclivities between Jon Moxley and Will Ospreay in the past, but interesting to me in that sense that they're kind of doing. We do actually, I have to give Nigel McGuinness a little bit of credit for this one. He is on the call for this one. And he says, even though this is unfortunate that there is a doctor stoppage, it's simultaneously fortunate because that means that the ringside physician is doing his job. I will give Nigel McGuinness that is perfect. Honestly, I will agree with him on that. We go to a commercial, and when we come back, we see Renee Paquette talking to Alex Windsor, where she declares that she wishes to go after the Triangle of Madness, but since Jamie Hayter's not around, we see Persephone from CMLL come in and offer her services. This was a good segment, but AEW needs to work on their audio quality and mixing. But for some reason, during this entire segment, you can hear the crowd more than you can hear Alex talking. So that they need to fix that. We have the return of Samoa Joe, and he's going to be going up against Corey Chung, who has been there before. He's been in AEW so far back as 2019. This is Samoa Joe. I'm a huge Samoa Joe fan, always have been. He gets Samoa Joe beats Chung with a muscle buster, and he goes about his day. And as Joe leaves, we see Hook come out on stage. They kind of embrace, and then they move on to their day. And we have another video package for Darby and another commercial break. And when we come back, we see that Jericho has found himself partners for Collision, and it will be the Hurt Syndicate. And as all three members of the Hurt Syndicate walk away, he can't help himself but say bald. We have Tony Schiavone in the ring now to announce Darby Allin down because Darby will be talking to us before his match with Ciampa. And a lot of here is just him talking about the fact that most people did not believe him. He had his first match in Portland. And honestly, the more that they do this, the more that they give you this aspect of Darby is more and more and more what's going to make me believe him as a champion. And of course, at some point in time, we do see MJF come out and to just declare he wants his championship back, and Darby just simply saying no. Ciampa ends up coming out, and for me, this is probably one of my favorite moments of that. MJF is out there to holler at Darby. Ciampa makes his entrance for his match and kisses an enraged MJF on the cheek, which enrages him more. Honestly, this Ciampa gimmick that he's got going on in AEW, he's not a heel, he's not a face, he's just Ciampa. I love it. I love the way this is going. And with Darby Allin being the world champion right now, part of the reason why I'm enjoying it is any match could be his last match. That's the thing about Darby. He's not going to politic for himself. He's not going to be upset if he's a transitional champion. He's not going to go and throw a fit if he doesn't get the lengthy reign that some people would. If Tony were to come in tomorrow and say, yo, you're going to drop the title on Collision, he would be okay with that because Darby Allin is a company man. So with every match that we have, he is going to be putting on those type of bangers. This match that he had with Ciampa, at one point in time, he gets like this hit. You know, I can't remember exactly what they call it, but it's like the slingshot when they hit the ropes, the bottom rope. He does it to the frame of the ring. Like they go hard. After the match, though, we do see Darby get the win and a handshake between them. But then Brody comes out to claim his shot for the following week. This is what they need to do with Darby. Every single match needs to be, could he lose it? Could this be the time? Could this person be the one that wins it? And that is exactly what they need to do with Darby as champion. I like it. This was kind of a muted episode of Dynamite compared to what we have had in the last few weeks. A lot of people I've seen online are a little bit bummed out about how this one was not as exciting as last week. A lot of people need to remember last week's Dynamite was WrestleMania week. AEW is not trying to take away from what WWE is doing with WrestleMania. They are just trying to get the word going out about them too. Not instead, too. So, in the same week that the other promotion is having their biggest pay-per-view, their bigger shows of the year, of course AEW is going to pull the trigger and have their world champion become the world champion that he became on one of their weekly shows, because it actually does make sense. It doesn't pull the light and eyes away from WWE. It just pulls enough to people go, oh, hey, AEW is doing something. And that's what they need. I like this one. I'm not doing a rating for this. We'll do ratings for like pay-per-views and stuff unless Sponge asks. But otherwise, this Dynamite was good. This Dynamite served the purpose that it needed to serve. It continued the story. It continued what's going on. It gave you a sprinkle here and there of other stuff that we have. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Make sure you let me know what you think. Even if you didn't like it or you don't agree with me, you don't have to agree with me. You don't need to think the same way that I think. As long as you respect that I think it, I will do the same to you. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you let me know and let us know what you think, because it's not only my opinion that matters. Everybody's opinion matters in professional wrestling because it is for everyone. I'm getting out of here because I have a bunch of other stuff I got to do. Tomorrow night will be when the Impact review comes out sometime. Who knows when? Depends upon when I get home and when I can record it. But I'm getting out of here. Thank you very much again. I am Jimmy King with WrestleLaunch, and I have 4 simple rules. I really wish people would just learn to live with me, okay? Stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy, and above all else, just love professional wrestling. I love you guys.